The desert wind carried dust and heat across the ruined outpost. What was once a peaceful trade station was now a broken shell of metal and stone. The war had come fast unexpected. No one had seen it coming. The humans didn't even know the alien tribes were still watching the stars. Logan, a human field engineer, walked slowly past the burned gate. His rifle was slung across his shoulder, and his uniform was torn at the sleeve. He had lost his squad 2 days ago in an ambush. Now he just wanted to find shelter before nightfall. The place smelled of fire oil, and something else, something wild. He stepped over scattered parts of alien machines and moved through the rubble. His ears caught something faint. A cough, then a soft whimper. He stopped. Someone was alive. He turned, moving toward the sound. Behind a broken wall, half buried in debris, was a shape, thin, small, breathing but weak. His eyes widened when he realized what it was. An alien girl. Her skin was covered in gray dirt. Her hair, if that wild tangle could be called hair, was filled with leaves and ash. Her clothing, barely hanging together, was nothing more than torn scraps of tribal cloth. She looked up, her large eyes full of fear and pain. She wasn't armed. Logan raised his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. The girl flinched. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you." She didn't speak. She just watched him, tense and shaking. Logan could see her ribs. She hadn't eaten in days. Her feet were bare and bleeding. She was shivering, even though the sun still hung high in the sky. "Why are you here?" he asked. No answer. Maybe she didn't understand his words. Or maybe she was too scared. He knelt beside her and offered his water flask. She didn't take it. Instead, her eyes locked onto his, searching him, judging him. The other soldiers had orders. Avoid contact with survivors unless they were human. Aliens from this region were considered hostile, dangerous, possibly infected. But Logan couldn't walk away. She was a child no older than 16 in human terms. He placed the flask on the ground beside her and stood up. "I'm setting up camp. If you want water or food, it's yours." He turned away and found a spot near a collapsed roof to build a fire. The sky was already changing color. Nights here dropped below freezing. Logan worked fast. His hands moved with tired skill stones, kindling fire. Still, he kept watching her from the corner of his eye. She hadn't moved, but she was watching him now. Carefully, he cooked a bit of ration, meat over the small flames. The smell drifted. That's when he heard it, a faint scraping sound behind him. He turned. She was crawling toward him. Her body shook with every movement, as if her muscles were too weak. But she didn't stop. Not until she sat just outside the fire's glow, staring at the food in his hand. He broke a piece off and offered it. She reached out, slowly. Her hands were filthy, nails cracked, skin dry and bruised. She took the meat and sniffed it, then ate. Fast. Too fast. She coughed, nearly choked, and Logan quickly handed her the water flask. This time she grabbed it with both hands and drank. Some of it spilled down her chin. She didn't care. Logan didn't speak. He just watched. Something in her eyes had changed. Not trust, no, not yet. But something close to it. Curiosity. Maybe. The fire cracked. Night came fast. Logan gave her his thermal blanket and lay down nearby. The girl sat up most of the night, watching him, silent. By morning, she was still there, curled up like a scared animal, holding the edge of the blanket tightly. He didn't know her name, didn't even know her species, but she wasn't just another alien anymore. She was real. And she had no one. As the first rays of sunlight warmed the broken outpost, Logan stood up and stretched. The girl stirred, blinking at the light. "I'm heading east," he said. "There's a refugee station 2 days from here. Maybe it's still standing." She didn't respond. He turned to leave. A soft tug at his sleeve made him stop. She was holding onto him, Her eyes were wide and scared, but her grip was strong. She didn't want to be left behind. Not again. Logan nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "You come with me." She gave a tiny nod and followed. Covered in filth, silent as a shadow, and still nameless, she followed the human soldier into the rising sun. The road east was not really a road, just cracked stones, dust, and old war. Tracks. Logan moved carefully, scanning the horizon with every step. His rifle stayed close, his eyes always watching for movement. The alien girl followed without a word. She was barefoot. Her steps were light, but her body trembled. Logan stopped and pulled out spare boots from his pack. They were too big, but better than nothing. He held them out. She stared at them, then at him. "Put them on," he said, pointing to her feet. She hesitated. Slowly she sat and slid them on. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't complain. Logan noticed how carefully she tied the straps, almost like she was scared of doing it wrong. They walked again. Hours passed. The sun beat down. Dust clung to their clothes. Logan offered her a strip of ration bar. This time, she took it without fear. Still no words from her. That silence, it wasn't empty. It was heavy. Full of things she couldn't say. Or maybe wasn't allowed to say. By evening, they reached a rocky ledge overlooking a dried-out riverbed. Logan decided they'd camp there. It was quiet. Safe enough. He gathered wood. She helped. Her movements were unsure, but she was trying. When the fire was lit, Logan noticed her eyes flicker with something like wonder. Maybe she hadn't seen fire in a long time, or maybe never. He took out his portable water heater and set up a small basin. Then he looked at her. "You need a wash," he said gently. "You'll feel better." Her body stiffened. He didn't move closer. Just pointed to the basin and poured some heated water inside. She stared at the steam. Then slowly walked to it. She crouched beside it, dipping her fingers into the warm water. Her shoulders shook slightly, and her lip trembled. She looked back at him, unsure. Logan turned away, giving her privacy. He heard soft splashes, quiet breaths. Then sniffles, not crying, something deeper. She was scrubbing her arms. Then her face. Gray dirt came off in layers, revealing pale skin underneath. The water turned brown. Her hair loosened from its knots. Some strands stuck to her cheeks. She wasn't ugly. She was just hidden under dust, fear, and sorrow. Logan handed her a clean cloth from his pack without looking directly. She took it. Later, when he turned back, she sat by the fire cleaner, calmer, wrapped in the dry blanket. Her hair fell around her face in messy waves, and her eyes, now clearer, watched the flames. Then, for the first time, she spoke. Her voice was soft. "Ray." Logan blinked. "Why, what?" She looked at him. "Why help me?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because you needed help." She lowered her gaze. Her hands clutched the blanket tighter. "No one helped before," she whispered. He didn't answer. Instead he asked, "What's your name?" She hesitated. Then answered, "Sika." "Sika," he repeated. "I'm Logan." She gave a small nod. Then silence again. But not the heavy kind. It felt different. Warmer. They ate quietly. The fire popped now and then. A wind passed through the rocks, whistling like distant voices. Before sleeping, Sika reached out suddenly and touched Logan's arm. Her fingers were cold. "Don't leave me." It wasn't a command. It was a plea. Logan looked at her, saw the fear hiding behind her calm face. "I won't," he said. "You're safe with me." She relaxed a little, then laid down beside the fire, close but not touching. Her eyes closed slowly, still watching him until the last moment. That night, Logan didn't sleep much. He sat awake, listening to the wind and fire, thinking about the girl who had nothing, but still found a way to trust him. He didn't know what she had been through. He didn't know what they'd find ahead, but he knew one thing. He was no longer alone, and neither was she. The next day, the sky turned gray before the sun could rise fully. Clouds rolled over the hills like waves. Logan looked up and frowned. "Storm's coming," he said quietly. Sika stood beside him, still wrapped in the blanket. Her wet hair from last night had dried into soft waves. She didn't speak, but her eyes followed his. She could feel the change too. They moved quickly, gathering supplies, packing up. The air smelled like wet metal and ash. In the distance, thunder growled low and angry. They needed shelter. Logan scanned the map on his wrist pad. An old refueling station lay half a day's walk northeast. If it was still standing, they might find a roof. They walked fast. Sika stayed close to him now, no longer afraid but still quiet. Her steps had more strength today. She didn't stumble. She didn't look away from the path. She was watching, learning, trying. Logan noticed at noon. The wind picked up. Sand whipped through the air, stinging skin and eyes. They had to cover their faces. Sika reached out, grabbing his arm to stay. Steady, he didn't shake her off. "We need to move faster," he shouted over the wind. She nodded. As they crossed a narrow canyon, lightning flashed overhead. The sky cracked open. Cold rain fell hard, pounding against them like stones. The dry earth turned to mud fast. Logan's boots slipped, and Sika almost fell. Then they saw it. The refueling station half buried in sand, its metal walls bent and rusted, but still standing. They rushed inside. The door creaked as Logan pushed it open. The room smelled old dust, oil, wet plastic, but it was dry. Safe, Sika collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Water dripped from her hair, soaking her clothes. Logan quickly checked the corners. No movement. "No threats. We'll rest here," he said. He built a small fire from emergency sticks. Warm light filled the space. Sika held her hands near it, trying to stop her shaking. Logan pulled a thermal blanket around her shoulders. Then he noticed something. A deep cut along her leg hidden before by the dirt and blanket. "You're hurt," he said, kneeling down. Sika froze. "I just want to help," he added. She didn't stop him. He cleaned the wound gently, wrapping it in cloth. It wasn't fresh, but it was bad, infected. "You should have told me," he said. She looked away. "Thought you'd leave me," he sighed. "I'm not leaving. Ever." She blinked fast, like trying not to cry. Logan sat beside her. For a while, neither spoke. The storm beat against the roof like drums. Inside, the fire was soft. "Steady." Then, quietly, Sika whispered, "My people, they sold me." Logan turned. "For food," she said. "They gave me to traders, said I was dirty, worthless." His hands clenched. "I ran away during a raid," she continued. "I thought I'd die alone." Logan stared into the fire. "You're not worthless," he said. "Not to me." Silence again. Then something strange happened. Sika reached into a small pouch tied to her belt, one he hadn't noticed before. From it, she pulled a small glowing stone, blue, pulsing like a heartbeat. She held it out. "What is that?" Logan asked. "It's part of a memory crystal," she said. "From my mother." He looked closer. The light flickered. Inside the stone, he saw a faint image, two figures, one tall, one small, standing under a red tree. "She's gone now," Sika said softly. "But I kept this." Logan felt a knot form in his chest. Even when no one had cared for her, she had held on to this. To family. To hope. He didn't say anything. Instead, he pulled out a small tin can of cocoa powder from his pack. Just a little left. A rare tree he had, saved for bad days. He made 2 cups. Sika tasted hers carefully, then gave the smallest smile. It wasn't much, but in that broken, rusted shelter, it felt like peace. Outside, the storm screamed. Inside, 2 souls so different, so lost, found warmth. Together. The storm passed by morning. leaving behind a muddy world and broken silence. The sky was still gray, but the worst had moved on. Logan stepped outside the ruined station and checked the horizon. No movement, no tracks. But something in his chest felt tight. Something was coming. Inside, Sika sat quietly, hugging her knees. The small glowing stone still hung from a cord around her neck. She had cleaned it with care. Now it rested against her skin like a piece of her heart. "We should move," Logan said. She nodded without question. They followed the riverbed east. The ground was soft and heavy under their boots. Logan kept one hand near his weapon. Sika walked behind him, quiet but alert. She had learned how to step lightly now. She listened closely to every sound, just like him. Suddenly, Sika stopped. Her body tensed. "What is it?" Logan asked. She pointed up ahead. Logan crouched low, pulling her down beside him. Voices, rough, laughing, human voices, but not good ones. Logan peeked over the rocks and saw them, 3 scavengers in torn uniforms. Their armor had no clear mark. No flag. Outlaws, raiders, men who didn't follow any rules. They carried weapons and dragged a broken drone behind them. Sika's face turned pale. "They're slavers," she whispered. Logan already knew. He remembered faces like that. Back in the war, he had seen soldiers throw alien girls into cages, selling them, breaking them, acting like they weren't even alive. Logan's jaw tightened. Sika pulled back, fear clear on her face. "We go around," she whispered. "No," Logan said. "They're too close. They'll see us if we move now." They waited behind the rocks, breathing slow, staying low. But the men were heading straight toward the path they had to take. Logan looked at Sika. Her hands were shaking again. Just like the first night he found her, he turned back to the scavengers, his fingers wrapped around his rifle. "We can't fight them," she said. Logan didn't answer. He was watching, counting steps, studying movement. Then the lead raider suddenly stopped. He sniffed the air. "I smell fire," the man said. "Someone's nearby," another said. They looked toward the trail. Logan's heart pounded. He couldn't let them find Sika. Not again. He motioned to her. "Hide now." She hesitated, then ran low behind the rocks, vanishing into shadow like a ghost. Logan stood up slowly, out in the open. "Hey!" he shouted. The scavengers turned fast, weapons raised. "Who the hell are you?" One barked. "Just passing through," Logan said calmly. "Storm pushed me off track." They approached him, grinning. "You're alone?" "Yes." "Got supplies?" "A few." "And what else?" "You carrying anything good?" Logan's fingers stayed near his belt, ready. The raider smiled wider. "You look like a soldier. Retired? Maybe." "Well, soldier," the man said, stepping closer. "We need your food, your gear, and whatever else you're hiding." Logan didn't blink. Then he moved quick. One shot clean. The lead raider fell. The other 2 shouted, firing wild shots. Logan dove behind a boulder, rolled, and returned fire. Another went down. The last man fled, blood on his arm. Logan didn't chase. He turned back, heart pounding. "Sika!" he shouted. She rushed from hiding, her eyes wide. "You could have died," she said, voice cracking. "So could you," Logan replied. "I'm not letting them touch you." She stared at him. Tears rose in her eyes. Not from fear, from something deeper. No one had ever protected her like that before. No one had ever fought for her. They searched the raiders. Gear took what little they could use. By the time the sun began to fall, they found another shelter. An old, moss-covered transport ship stuck in a hillside. Broken, but dry inside. Logan built a fire again. Sika sat near him, arms wrapped around her knees. Then she did something new. She leaned against him, quietly, gently. Not asking. Just resting. Logan didn't move away. He stayed still, letting her warmth rest against his side. The fire flickered outside. The land was cold, silent inside. Something was changing. For the first time, Sika wasn't just surviving, she was healing. And Logan wasn't just protecting her. He was starting to care. The next morning, sunlight broke through the cracks in the old transport ship. Dust floated in the warm beams. Logan woke first, his back sore from the cold metal floor. But the warmth beside him reminded him he wasn't alone. Sika was still asleep, curled beside him like a small animal at peace. Her breathing was slow. Her face was calm. He didn't wake her. For once, she wasn't shaking. Logan quietly stepped outside, rifle ready. He scanned the hill, the trees, the sky. All clear for now, but something was changing in the air. Birds weren't singing. The wind was too still. When he returned inside, Sika was already awake, watching him. She sat up slowly, rubbing her eyes. "We keep moving today?" Logan nodded. "The refugee station should be close. Maybe another day." Sika looked away. Her hands fidgeted with the cord around her neck. "You okay?" he asked. She hesitated. "If they see me there, will they turn me away?" "No," Logan said. "Not if I walk in beside you." She gave a tiny nod, though her eyes still held fear. They ate quickly and packed what little they had. The world outside was quiet, too quiet. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. As they walked through the hills, Logan noticed something in the distant smoke. Not the soft gray kind from campfires. This was dark. Rising fast, he crouched and pulled Sika down beside him. "Looks like a convoy was attacked," he muttered. Sika peeked over the edge. "Raiders? Maybe, or worse." They crept forward, moving through rocks and tall dry grass. When they reached the edge of the burned site, Logan's breath caught. It wasn't a convoy. It was the refugee station, or what was left of it. Buildings shattered. Tents burned. Bodies scattered. Sika covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes wide with horror. "No," Logan whispered. "We were too late." The wind finally moved, carrying the awful smell of ash and death. Sika stepped forward slowly, then stopped. Her knees buckled. Logan caught her. Tears ran down her cheeks silently. She didn't cry loudly. She just broke inside. "This was our chance," she said. "Safe people, food, clean water." "I know," Logan said. They sat together in the dirt, beside the ruins of what could have saved them. Then Logan saw something movement. Near the ruins, he raised his rifle quickly. But it wasn't a raider. It was a small boy. Alien. Covered in ash. But alive. "Hey." Logan called gently. The boy flinched, then ran behind a broken wall. Sika stood. "Wait." She chased after him, not fast but not stopping either. Logan followed. They found the boy hiding in the shadows, clutching a small bag of food. He looked barely older than 10. Sika knelt down, hands open. "It's okay," she said softly. "We're not bad people." The boy stared at her, confused. Then looked at Logan, then back at Sika. He whispered, "You're like me." Sika's eyes widened. "You were one of the refugees?" He nodded. "My sister. She didn't make it." Sika's face went pale. She didn't ask more. The boy's hands shook. "Everyone left, or died. I stayed to hide." Logan slowly offered him a water flask. The boy hesitated, then took it. "We're going to find help," Logan said. "You can come with us." The boy didn't answer, but he stood close enough to follow. Now there were 3 of them. 3 strangers. 3 survivors. Logan looked around once more. He hated what he saw: burnt walls, silence, lost hope. But as Sika held the boy's hand, guiding him away from the wreckage, something stronger rose in Logan's chest. They weren't just running anymore. They were protecting something, and maybe saving each other. They walked into the dusk, shadows stretching behind them, eyes set forward. Whatever waited beyond the hills, they would face it together. Night fell before they reached the next ridge. Logan, Sika, and the quiet alien boy sat around a low fire under a rocky overhang. The stars above were sharp and cold. The land stretched empty in all directions. No cities, no towers, no sign of help. Just silence and space. Sika gave the boy a piece of bread from her pouch. He took it with both hands and chewed slowly, watching her as if still unsure whether to trust her fully. She smiled at him gently. He smiled back. Logan. Watch them. The flickering light dancing across both their faces. He hadn't meant to become anyone's protector. He was just a tired soldier trying to survive. But now, he couldn't imagine walking alone again. They planned to head north at sunrise. There were rumors of a hidden colony, a place where aliens and humans helped each other. Logan didn't know if it was real, but they had to try. As the fire dimmed, Sika looked at Logan with calm eyes. I was nothing before, she said. He shook his head. You were never nothing. She touched the glowing stone at her neck. My mother once told me, if I found someone who saw me, not as dirt, not as trade, but as a soul, I should never let them go. Logan said nothing. He didn't need to. She moved closer, sitting beside him. Her head rested against his shoulder. Her warmth was quiet, steady. Not scared anymore. The boy lay curled near the fire asleep. Safe, for the first time, truly safe. The wind brushed past them gently, no longer harsh or cruel. I used to think kindness was weakness, Sika whispered. Now I think, maybe it's the strongest thing. Logan looked at the stars. So do I. In the days that followed, they traveled farther, crossing valleys, rivers, and cold plains. They helped a lost merchant, fought off 2 more raiders, found shelter with an old human couple who had built a home in the cliffs. Word of them spread slowly. A human who walked with alien children. A soldier who didn't turn his back. One night, they reached the edge of a small camp. It was real. Colony was real. Humans and aliens working together. No fences, no chains. A doctor treated Sika's old wounds. The boy was given a warm bed, real food, and even smiled. Logan was offered a room, but he asked for a tent near Sika's. That night, she came to him quietly, wrapped in a clean blanket. Her skin was no longer gray. Her hair was brushed. Her eyes were bright. She sat beside him, took his hand, and didn't say anything. She didn't need to. They had survived the war. They had survived each other. And now, they had peace. Sika wasn't filthy anymore. She was seen. She was loved. And Logan once, just a lone soldier, had found something worth more than orders or medals. He had found a reason to stay.